Hello, chess friends, and welcome to this Out of Chess channel, and welcome to an incredible game from the computer chess rating list. This popular CCRL, one of the most important websites about computer chess. We have here Stockfish versus Clover in a beautiful open Ruy Lopez, and I think this game is really a beautiful, instructive game with cool strategies in the Ruy Lopez, but also with cool tactical opportunities. Then in the later stage of the game, if you're maybe starting to play the Ruy Lopez, I think you can even start with this game because I think has really the most important ideas here. Even if you're a beginner, I think many ideas can be understood here that Stockfish is playing. So, in my opinion, really an epic game. Pay good attention how the fish is playing the beautiful open Ruy Lopez. So, Stockfish opened with the move e4. Its opponent Clover response was e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. The Ruy Lopez a6 Morphy defense, bishop to a4, knight to f6, kingside castling, and now we have the open Ruy Lopez with the move knight to e4. Of course, the center is open. There are some tensions now on the e file, and one of the best ways now for white to break and enter is, of course, to play the move d4, hoping that the e file gets open and then the king could be endangered on the e file. So b5, bishop to b3. We have d5 supporting now the knight on e4, and now d takes e4, which is now one of the most popular ways to proceed here. White gains some spaces. White is now a space advantage on the 5th rank, but this pawn can be also further maybe attacked. So far, bishop to g4 is of course not working, trying to attack the key defender of the pawn on e5, because you have also some problems here around the square d5. So that's why after move d takes e5, we have bishop to e6 by Clover, bishop to e3, bishop to e7, c3, controlling the d4 square, also creating breathing spaces for the bishop. In one of this maybe tactical opportunities later, the bishop can be rerouted to c2 and also putting more pressure against the knight on e4. So in the game, kingside castling, knight from b to d2, Clover releases the pressure immediately in the center of the board, doesn't want to go into complications. We have queen to d2 and now knight to a5. This is one of the most popular ways to proceed here, simply getting rid of this annoying bishop on b3, because as we said, it can be maneuvered on a more active square. But now Stockfish shows its great attacking skills. Stockfish is not reacting first. Stockfish is first playing on the beautiful counter attack, because if you play now knight takes b3, then the problem is now after knight takes b3, rook to e8 that you can play now, you have now a weak square in your position, and it's actually the weak square on c5. And look at this. This pawn on the c file will be always a backward pawn. You'll not improve it for sure in this particular game, because after bishop to c5, knight to c5, and then afterwards we play something like b4, we cement our knight on the square c5, we have the so-called octopus knight, and in my opinion, this is the way to go. In these types of positions, I think the knight would be much better than the bishop, especially because of the bad bishop here that's just a part of the pawn chain. So the knight would be, as I said, much more powerful than the bishop for sure. So you can also, instead of this move knight takes b3, you can also try maybe knight to c4, but actually it's not working. Look at this, bishop to c4, d takes c4, and now f4 is going to happen. We're getting here, I think, great activities with f5, f6. Even if you play something like c5 here, this is not working because you have a stunning tactic, knight to c6. You pick up the queen maybe on d2, but now knight to e7 with an intermediate check, and now we pick up the queen and we're up a whole piece. So it's completely, of course, winning here for white. So after move knight to d4, see, it's not so easy for black to make something happen here with the move knight to c4, knight to b3. So that's why Clover retreated with the slice square bishop, tried to reroute it maybe on another diagonal. So in the game, rook from a to d1 by the fish, we have rook to e8. If you play c5 here, then the problem is now, okay, you have really a storm here. You have really a wild pawn storm that's going towards the center of the board, but actually now it becomes also a huge problem. You can maybe try again knight to b3, a takes b3, but now how are you going to defend the pawn on d5? You can play bishop to b7, but knight to f4 is going to happen, and there's no good defense anymore. We'll simply pick it up for sure. So in my opinion, this is also not working. So after move rook from a to d1, that's why Clover played rook to e8, f4. We have bishop to g4, attacking now the rook, and now a brilliant idea here by Stockfish, playing bishop to c2, not retreating with the rook immediately, because look at this, what happens if you play bishop to d1, then queen to d1, and I would not love to play this game anymore. You're lacking in defenders here in front of the king. Look at this. The rook will come on f3, on h3. You can maybe try again the move c5. Look at this. We have even this stunning ideas. Knight to e6, for instance, is also an opportunity. I just wanted to show you how really tactical rich this position can become. Although you gave up the exchange, but this rook, this knight will probably not get into the game for sure. So look at this, knight to e6, f takes e6, queen comes g6, bishop to g6. We sacrifice further pieces. Really wild stuff. Now we can play f5. If you go to f8, if you for instance go to h8, we can play even rook to f3, rook to h3, f5, bishop to h6. So you're getting simply destroyed by this activity of the queen and the rook and the bishop. Really stunning already position here by Stockfish. Stockfish retreats to c2. It's not not playing here with the rook, allows simply Clover to take it out. So that's why Clover played first knight to c4. We have here queen to d3, threatening a checkmate here by Stockfish on h7. In the game g6, and now finally rook to b1. Now Stockfish retreated. Now Stockfish is saying, I had enough. At least I provoked some weaknesses in your position, because now you have exposed yourself and there are several darkward problems now in Black's camp. So in the game bishop to d7, played by Clover. If you play knight to e3, then queen to e3, you can maybe try c5, but look at this, knight to c6 is going to happen. You can maybe play d4, but I think we'll simply pick up this bishop, and then f5 is the way to go. You have great activities here. When the g file is open, the king could be endangered. So again, a good game here for white for sure. So in the game after rook to b1, as we said, bishop to d7, we have now bishop to f2 pardon me, by Stockfish, retreating simply with the bishop, and now finally c5 here by Clover. Finally Clover gets this idea that was present in the beginning, but really never worked out because of some other tactical problems that white caused in the position. So in the game knight to f3, we have queen to a5, attacking now the pawn on a2. But you know, Stockfish is never counting pawns. Stockfish continues with this plan here. h3, g4, f5. This is the way to go. There's simply no time, I think, to make something here on the queen side. But Clover accepted the challenge anyway. Played now queen to a2. We have queen to e2, rook to c8, bishop to d3, attacking now the knight, queen to b3, and now comes this idea f5. This was our main goal in the position. Even if you play, let's see, something like a5 here, if you try maybe to make further progress here on the queen side, it's simply too slow. We'll simply play beautiful e6 after f takes e6. Now we play here f takes g6, and you're getting destroyed. The knight will come into the game. Rook is on the f file. Bishop is here. This bishop can be included in the game. So again, the 4 or 5 pawns, pardon me, pieces will storm here towards the king, so it's simply not working here for black. So f move f5, we have g takes f5, bishop to h4, d4 by Clover, but now after c takes d4, bishop to h4, knight to h4, c takes d4, but now look at this. This bishop is coming in a beautiful way into the game, and now there is a serious threat of queen to g4, and maybe in some lines even deliver a checkmate against black's king. So that's why bishop to f5, knight to f5. You cannot play rook to e5 here, because as we said, queen to g4 is going to happen. So that's why you have to play knight to e5, controlling now the g4 square. But now we have a beautiful fork, and from this point on, I think the game is a messed up one here for sure for black. So after move knight to d6, queen to e6, here Stockfish won the exchange and now activated the queen, and is trying now to maybe again include some other pieces into the attack. But the only problem that white has here is of course the passer on the d file that can be supported by the rook, that can be also supported by the knight, and also we have here 2 versus 1 pawn majority. Maybe Clover can also create here a passer on the queen side, but Stockfish has of course its activity. Stockfish first of all after move d3 included of course the rook into the game, which is a good choice. f6 is protecting now the knight, but is creating a new weakness in the position. Look at this, many targets now for white here against black. In the game, rook to f1 was played by Stockfish, rook to f8, queen to h6, and now after check, queen to b6. Now an interesting choice by Stockfish, rook to f2, allowing to be even pinned, because Stockfish didn't want to play king to h2. Probably then there are maybe some activities on this diagonal, so rook to f2 temporarily solves now the positional problem. So knight to g6, we have h4, we have d2, queen to d2, and now Clover takes out now this pawn on h4, but Stockfish now plays on a beautiful battery, is trying rook to d6, and finally also take out the pawn on f6. We have knight to g6, rook to d6, queen to c5. So far, of course, rook to f6 is not possible because of the pin by the queen against the rook. We have b4 attacking the queen, queen to e5, and now rook to a6. This is the way to go. Stockfish is now getting this rook very active, took now also the pawn, and is now also probably targeting the weak opponent b5. So we have king to g7, rook to d6, rook to f7, rook to f1. We have queen to e4, and now after rook to d5 attacking now this pawn, we have rook to c7, rook to h5, trying even to sneak in with the queen here on h6. We have rook to b7, rook to f5. We have rook to b6, and now queen to f2, building now this triple battery here on the f file. This is the way to go. The f6 pawn now is a vulnerable square. So rook to b7. We have rook takes f6, queen to b4, rook to c6. Again, with some ideas to play maybe queen to f6 or similar stuff in the game. King to h6, a rook to d1. The queen drops back to e7, and after rook to d5, queen to e4, here queen to d2. In this position, actually even Clover resigns. So what's the point? Probably the problems are this one, queen to c3. Look at this, queen to c1. You're getting simply destroyed on dark squares. In one particular moment, I think we can even trade off the pieces. We will eventually grab now this pawn, so it will basically become a rook versus knight endgame, and it's of course then winning. The black's king is simply too endangered here. The activities that white is causing here are simply too much to handle. Great game, I think, by Stockfish. Really instructive game in the open. Ruy Lopez, we have seen in the beginning some tactical problems that Stockfish solved very easily, and then when Stockfish activated the pieces, it won the exchange, and then it was simply a one-way ticket. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed a lot. Interesting ideas of the Spanish game for sure. If you want to see more top engine games like this, check out our combat chess games played by computers, with some more games played by Stockfish, Alpha Zero, Lila Zero, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.